I'm Loretta Doon, and I'm CEO of CalCPA, and today I'm here with Conrad Davis, who's the chair of CalCPA, and we're here to present to you CalCPA Connect. We just rolled off a CalCPA Council meeting here in Sacramento. We're in Sacramento, and I would say it was a very successful meeting for the member leaders in CalCPA.
Yes,
you know, one of the things that we talked about that I know personally I'm very excited about is our relocation of our headquarters, the CalCPA Headquarters, to San Mateo, 1800 Gateway Drive. This has been a very long process for us, and we're very happy to be in our new office home. And I know that Conrad has actually visited us, so what do you think, Conrad?
Oh, it's really fantastic. I've been there a couple of times, and just whether it's the artwork or the carpeting, but most it's the people all in their places, and it's so nice to see them in the nice areas in the space. And it's the only thing is it's a little bit confusing going around the outside of the building trying to find the elevator, but I figure I'm going to know my way around that building before I know it.
Well, we hope that many members get to visit us at the CalCPA headquarters. And what Conrad is talking about, it is not a rectangular building. There are some circular parts to it, but it is a beautiful building, and we're very happy to be there. One of the things that we talked about this morning was the financial statements for CalCPA. And I want to assure you that CalCPA financially is very stable, and we're doing very well with respect to our net income and our net assets and where we are. So I'm very happy to report that. Having said that, I also told the council that, you know, when you're doing well, that's the very time when we have to be really on our toes and be sure that we are able to meet all the challenges of our profession and our organization. So we will be watching that very carefully.
Right.
The council also had a discussion on the budget for next year. This is the meeting where we actually adopt the budget for the next cycle, and we also reviewed the dues for the next year. So I'll have Conrad speak to that.
Yeah, we raised the dues, not in every category, but about $4 in most of the categories. The idea is that CalCPA is growing. We're a vital organization. We're doing more every year, and so this is part of our normal growth process. And we talked about that at council, and it was unanimously accepted to increase the dues.
Right. So I think you're going to see that as members of CalCPA in your next invoicing period. I think that'll start sometime this spring. The other thing we did was that we actually had an Audit Committee report, which is always good. I love those Audit Committee reports. I know a little bit of a technical thing in the meeting, which is great. And Jock Welch, who's our Audit Committee chair, did in fact present the report. They did go out for an RFP for auditors for CalCPA, and we will continue to engage MGO, Macias, Jeannie and O'Connell to be the auditors for CalCPA. The Ed Foundation also always gives a report at the CalCPA Council meeting, and the Ed Foundation is also doing quite well. And we find that the product area that's doing extremely well for the Ed Foundation, and it is no surprise, is the area of online products. So the growth there has been phenomenal. You know, it's all about creating the best education for our CPA members in California. So they did a very nice job of presenting what's going on with the Ed Foundation and the successes that they've had with their online products. Yesterday, we are in Sacramento, as I mentioned, and yesterday we actually had what we call our CalCPA Day at the Capitol. So Conrad, did you have fun yesterday?
I did. It was really a good time. I enjoyed meeting with the legislators, and we actually had a number of initiatives that we were bringing to the legislators. Probably the biggest issue is the 150 hours, and that legislation passed last year Now there's some technical issues that go along with that. What is the curriculum going to look like in the schools? And that's an important issue because the timing on that is critical because in order for the schools to be ready by 2014, they have to get that curriculum in place and they need guidance. And so we communicated that clearly to the legislators, the importance of clarifying the 150 hours. The other issue we talked about was taxes on services. That we all know that the state of California is in trouble in terms of the deficit, and that we're looking at sources. We think there may be other better ways to do that. Another issue that we talked about was mobility, the idea that at this point 47 states allow CPAs to freely come and go, and California is not one of those states. And so part of interstate commerce and being on par with the other states is we've encouraged our legislature to watch for perhaps cleanup legislation or something that may ultimately allow us to move along with the rest of the country. And then the other part, but probably the most fun part, is the election just happened. And so we have a bunch of new legislators in place. And this was a chance for us to introduce ourselves to them, put a face to CPAs, put a face to CalCPA. And part of that also was financial literacy. It was going and talking to them about, you know what, it's not just about what we need from you. We would like to give something to you. We'd like to be in your district. We'd like to be putting these things on for your members because that's part of how we actually make California a stronger state. Mm-hmm. And that was very well received. And so it was nice to be able to deliver a good message.
You know, advocacy is so important to our profession. And I think that us being able to face-to-face deal with these representatives is critical in terms of who we are and what we do. We also had Patty Bowers, who's the executive officer for the California Board of Accountancy, speak to us, and it was very informative to hear her perspective on regulation of CPAs in the state of California. You mentioned financial literacy. You know, this is a program that we are very proud of. We have, over the years, actually touched over 30,000 students in the state of California. As a matter of fact, our Financial Literacy Committee, and I believe it's in conjunction with Jumpstart Coalition, is on April 2nd going to have a Financial Literacy Educators Conference. It will be in Los Angeles. I believe it's going to be in the Los Angeles Convention Center, and we look forward to that. We think it's a great collaboration between our program and the educators in California. It will be targeted to elementary and high school educators. So if you know anyone or if you are interested in this conference, it's going to be fantastic. You should contact CalCPA. You can call us or call customer service or contact anyone associated with CalCPA, and they can direct you and give you more information about this conference. It's really going to be fun. It really is a way for CalCPA to outreach with its financial literacy program to the teachers in California.
Yes, and another thing that CalCPA is doing in terms of enhancing our profession is working on the leadership of California CPAs. And one of our programs that we just had a graduation today, just a couple of hours ago, where our leadership development program had 20 graduates that came through this. It's been a 5-day process that they went through where they learned about their own leadership styles and how they can affect other situations where their natural leadership style may not be the best suited. And so really it's a great takeaway for them not only become leaders in their own organizations but also with CalCPA. And so that was neat. Next year around, I think it's the August time frame, take a look at calcpa.org if you'd like to put your name in and go through that process. But it's a great program. Everybody that's gone to it has come back with rave reviews.
CalCPA and the Ed Foundation really support this, and we have made an investment in this program to be sure that the next generation of CPA leaders will be there at the right time. So if you're interested, please contact us. It is really a fantastic program.
But another program is for the young and emerging leaders, so the Emerging Leader Certificate Program, and that was just started this year. And it's 7 classes. They're facilitated in each local chapter. They have a webcast that happens, but then they also have a facilitator that's an existing CPA that develops that cadre group. And so, again, we are taking the young and emerging professionals and also bringing them into the pipeline with leadership skills for themselves, but also for CalCPA. And then the last thing that CalCPA does, we've talked about financial literacy and our impact in the state, is we've actually given over $210,000. That number is going to go north of that. We have another chapter that's going to contribute some more money to scholarships, and that is a real give back to the education process to bring the more CPAs into the profession.
Yeah, I love the fact that we are so generous with our scholarships, and that program has been so successful for us, particularly at the chapter level. So thank you very much. If you've donated to the CalCPA Institute or participate in any of the scholarship events, thank you very, very much. You know, we had a technical discussion today, interestingly enough, and it had to do with a report from a Blue Ribbon panel. The Blue Ribbon panel consisted of representatives from the AICPA, from NASBA, and I believe from FASB.
FAF.
FAF,
yes.
FAF, okay.
Financial Accounting
And what they did was to analyze, you know, what should the reporting standards be for private companies. This issue, I know, has been bantered around for many, many decades.
35 years, I think, is what they told us, yes.
Decades. And finally, there's some movement as a result of this Blue Ribbon panel on what some recommendations are with respect to how to handle private company standards and private company reporting. So one of the things that is recommended by the Blue Ribbon panel is a separate board that would establish the standards for private company reporting. Now, the intent here is to take the current gap and identify exceptions for private companies.
Yes, and modifications.
Right. So I think the FAF will be meeting shortly, or receiving the, excuse me, today, I believe, a presentation is being made by the Blue Ribbon panel to FAF so that FAF can take it into consideration. So I think our members should stay tuned as to what's going to happen with respect to this. Private company reporting and private companies throughout the country is very important, in how we handle that and how we handle their financial statements.
And if I could just weigh in a little bit, a couple of things that were really pointed out to me that were illustrative. Or one is, this is really not about small companies. It's not really about cost savings and audits. It's that private companies have a different ownership structure. They have a different set of users of the financial statements. And so what we were looking at, just with the same thing with governmental accounting or state accounting, is that this should be an accounting for private companies. And so they're heading that process. But also, I'd urge all of you to become aware of this. This is a pivotal time in our industry in terms of changing our standards or standard setting bodies. And so all of us are really required to become more aware of this.
Yeah, and the council did spend considerable amount of time learning or being aware of the issue and discussing it. So I would say, as I said before, stay tuned, because there's more to come on this issue.
And then this is probably my absolute favorite part of the meeting, was we did the Distinguished Service Awards. And it's when you take a look at, generally it's always been a CPA that has done something outstanding in the past or significant personal involvement. Well, this year we actually gave the Distinguished Service Award to two people, to Roger Nilo and Fiona Ma, two of our representatives in the legislature. And they've carried with us last year 3 important pieces of legislation. Again, they're CPAs, they're part of our family here, but they got through the 150-hour legislation, which was so important for us to be equivalent to the other states, at least allow us to go out, and that was huge. They also carried or helped with the mandatory peer review, and also the third piece was maintaining the privilege for tax enrolled agents as well as CPAs and tax preparation services. So they have been very, very helpful and supportive of CalCPA. But it was great to have them come and tell us about themselves and their appreciation, and us to recognize our thanks for what they have done.
I think it's very significant. I think that the connection that we have with our representatives cannot be talked about and encouraged enough. This is a big deal for us to have that kind of support in our advocacy programs. So we really are appreciative, and I know they were so gracious when they received their awards. So wonderful
Yeah.
part of the meeting, as you said.
And if I could just tack on one other little thing, just part of what made the spice of the meeting, we must have had 10 legislators come in throughout the morning. So almost every speaker at one point or another was interrupted as someone came through and we got a chance to say hello to us. So it really did give us that connection with the legislature today. So it was all around just a very positive, engaging of our legislature.
Right, and then yesterday we had over 150 CPAs go across the street to the Capitol and visit with this legislature. So a success all around, but very critical to our success in protecting the public interest and doing what's right for our profession. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Goodbye. CalCPA Connect will connect with you again in June when we have our June council meeting. Take care. Thank you so much.